and I'm the regional digital coach for the far Northeast. And we have also with us helping out Drea. Drea, you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Drea Aguirre. I'm the digital regional coach for the near Northeast.
So this session is going to be about getting the resources from the remote learning website into your Google Classroom. So what I'm going to start doing is just going step by step the way I would do this from start to finish. I'll stop a few times along the way to take some questions. Drea will be manning the chat room there, so you can ask questions as they come up. But again, I will be stopping to answer some of those that are coming up most frequently. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. And we will hope that my technology is working better this time than it was in the last session I did. Okay, looks like it's just about to present. Okay, so hopefully now you can see my Google Drive. So the first place I would start before I do anything else is by organizing my Google Drive. So I would go into Drive and I would create a folder that is just the place where these remote learning lesson plans are going to live. And so to do that, I'm going to hit New and just create a new folder here. I will call this something like Option 1 Resources. You can call them whatever you like, just as long as you have a place to store all of these. So now I have this nice folder. I'm really an organized person, so you can see I like color coding, so I would probably go in here and right-click on this folder, and maybe even change the color to something I can recognize quickly. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is heading to the remote learning website, which you can get to by going to remote-learning.dpsk12.org. And if you haven't been there yet, make sure that when you do go there, you're logged into your dpsk12.net account on Chrome. That's where it's going to work best, and you do have to be logged into your Google account to access any of these resources that we're talking about today. So once you're in there, you can navigate across the top. We want to go to Option 1, Lesson Plans and Resources. Now, if you teach in the upper grades, 9 through 12, there's a breakdown here, and there is a folder here that's just for English language development. So when we go there, you'll find the lesson plans here in this folder. If you teach lower grades, let's go into K5, we will find lesson plans here just by grade level. So let's just say we teach third grade. And the way these are organized is, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit slow. All right, there we go. So these are organized by the day for the week. So we have 4 lessons per week, and you can click on these and get all the lessons for third grade. So I'll just click on this first one here. I really apologize for how slow this is. Okay, so now that we're in, you will see that there is a row here that is for ELD. And this is about 20-minute lesson. And there's a link here that I can click on to get to the actual lesson. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click this. Now, this is going to make me make a copy of this document. So you know now, once you make a copy of the document, this is your copy. You can do with it whatever you want. You're not going to mess anything up. So I'm going to go through this making a copy, and then hopefully I will have my own document up. I think I'm going to close out some of these other things, and maybe I'll speed up my connection a little bit. Okay, so now I'm in the copy of ELD grades 2 and 3, day 1 student material. So from here, I can do anything I want with it. I can modify this and make it, customized for my students. Now, before I do anything else, I want to add this to that folder that I created in my drive. And while it's just spinning, I'll just stop here for questions. Are there any questions yet?
Just a clarification, Nikki, there will be 5 lessons per week. It's just 4 this week because of the short week.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Okay, so now that this is finally loaded, you'll see there's a little icon right here This is the move icon. There's another way to get to this as well. You could go in here to file and move it here. But what I want to do, just so I know where I can find this thing in my drive, is I want to put it in my drive or in that folder that I created. So I'm going to go here to move. And I'm going to find that folder that I named option 1. I have a lot of folders. Here it is, option 1, resources. I'm going to move it right there. And now I know where it is when I need to get to it. And we can just say that I'm going through here. I'm making a few changes to these questions. I'm adding a few things, taking a few things out, whatever I want to do. That's fine. And then I can just go ahead and close it up. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of some of this other stuff too to hopefully make my computer a little faster. Okay, so now that I have the document, it's in my drive, it's in a folder, I know exactly where it is, I can go over to my Google Classroom. And so hopefully you have started working on Google Classroom, or you've watched some of the videos that we have that show some of this, and this will look familiar to you. Usually when you get into a Google Classroom, the first thing you see here is the stream, but I'm going to make this an assignment. So I'm going to go to classwork. Now, I have topics along the sides here, so that students can access things a little easier. So I'm going to create a topic for this week, or you can do it however you want, but I think that by week might be a good way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a topic, and I'm going to say week of April 6th lessons, and I'll hit add. You can see this created this nice topic for me. And now when I create my assignment that I'm about to do, I can put it in that topic and students will know right where to look. So I'm going to hit create and then choose assignment. And I'll say lesson for April, this will be for tomorrow. So April 7th, I could put some instructions in here that are specific to my students if I want. And then I just need to go here to add and choose Google Drive. Now, what pops up is recent. And so you might be able to go right to that document if you were just in it. But if you don't see it there and it's not showing up, go into this little tool here, the My Drive, and then you can locate the folder where you know you put it. Now, I know that I was just in it, so it should be recent. This is it right here. And I'm going to go ahead and add it. Now, this particular document would be better used if every student had their own copy of it, because it was a type of document where students can type some answers on here. So in this case, I want to make it so that every student gets their own copy. So I'm going to be sure to choose this here. If you forget to do that and you assign it, there's not, excuse me, I need some water here. One sec. Sorry about that. There's not a way to go back and generate a copy for each student from this assignment. So you'd need to delete this one and make a new one and go back and attach it and make a copy for each student. So just keep in mind that it has to be done right the first time if you want it to work correctly. Okay, so now up here, I can go in and I can assign this to multiple classes if I have multiple classes of students that I need to give this document to, or I can just keep it in this one for now. Oops. I'm assigning it to 2 and I didn't want to. I can also go in here and choose which students get this assignment. So if only a couple of my students need this one, I can just choose those 2. And then those are the only ones that are going to get it. I think in my case, I'm going to be the only one that gets this, because otherwise all my coach friends are going to get an email from me saying they have an assignment, and I will prevent that from happening. So I'm just going to give it to myself. I can give this some points if I want to, or I can make it ungraded. I'll just make it 20 points. I can give it a due date. Since this is going to be tomorrow's work, I'll make it due tomorrow. I could even put a time on there if I wanted to. Now, this is important because it makes it so much easier for the student to see where the work is. We want to make sure that we put it in that topic that we created, which was week of April 6th lessons. Okay, so this stuff we'll ignore for now. Everything else is ready. I'm going to hit assign and assign. Okay, before I go into student view, are there any questions?
Nikki, can you repeat that whole last section, but go slower?
Yep, I can certainly do that. Okay, so I will actually just make a whole new assignment. This is going to be, I'll put in the same document, but I'm going to pretend like it's maybe for the next day or something. So I'm just going to start over and do this again.
Sorry,
so,
Nikki, one more time. Will you go all the way back to how you got the resources and saved them into your drive?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I will do that. So let's back up. And so the first thing I talked about was going in and creating a folder for all of this work, and I named it Option 1 Resources. The way I did that was I went to New, and I'm just in my Google Drive, by the way. New, and I made a new folder, and I called it Option 1 Resources. Now, I won't do that again because I already have the folder called that, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. But this is my resource folder where I'm going to store all of these things where I got them from the website. Okay, so that's step 1, just making a folder to put things in. Step 2 is going to the remote learning website for DPS. So Drea, I know you're probably frantically typing, but if you have a chance, if you could put remote-learning.dpsk12.org. So that's our website for everything. Make sure that to access this, you are logged into your dpsk12.net account. It needs to be your Google account for DPS. And then once you're in the website, you go over to this tab at the top here called Option 1 Lesson Plans and Resources. And then you'll choose your grade level. If you are in the upper grades in 9 through 12, you will have your own folder here for English language development. For the lower grades, and I went to 3rd grade, so I'll just go back there. We're going to go K through 5, and then our lesson plans are just going to be in this drop down right here. Okay, so I went into 3rd grade. And what comes up is the week's lessons for week of April 6th, if it decides to come up. Oh, goodness me. Okay, there we go. So here are our 4 lessons for this week. It's a short week, so we just have the 4 lessons. I'll go ahead and click on this first one. It's for April 7th. And when it finally loads, I will have the document for all of grade 3's lessons for this day. So I've got art and ELD and literacy, all of these things. For now, I'm just going to choose ELD. And I'll click the link that is associated with that. It says it's a 20-minute lesson. And I need to click on the document to get those resources. So the way this is set up, when I click that, it's forcing me to make a copy of it. So I won't be able to manipulate the original. I won't mess anybody up. I'm going to have my very own copy. So I'm just going to click this button here. Okay, so here is the document that I need for the first day of this week. And this is my copy of it, so I can modify it however I want and make it whatever my students need it to be. And if we just scroll down a little bit, I'm so sorry, my connection is really bad. Okay, so you can see I've got lots of different activities here within this document. So again, I can take some of these out or I can add to them. I can make it whatever I want it to be. This is my document. But before I do anything else, I want to make sure I can locate this document, because if I start adding a bunch of things to my drive, they'll just be all over the place in the drive and I won't really know where anything is. So there's a little tool here that's called Move. You can also get to this tool here by going to File and Move. So more than one way to do everything. I'll just go back up to this tool because I like it. And then I'm going to move this to that folder I just created. So I know it's just a main folder in my drive, so I'm just going to scroll down. And I know it's green too, so hopefully I can just locate it quickly. Here it is, Option 1 Resources. And I'm going to move it in there. So you can ignore this thing for now. This is a read and write tool. All right, so again, this is my document. I'll make whatever changes I want, make it just how my students need it to be, and then I'm done with it. I can close it up. And I can also close this up. I don't need that anymore, and I don't need that anymore. So then I'm going to head over to my Google Classroom. And this is what it looks like when I first go to classroom.google.com. I can see all my classes. So I'm going to stop here and see if there's any questions before we move to the next part. We doing all right, Drea?
Yep, you can go ahead.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so back to my classes. All right, I'm going to open up this Google Classroom. And I'm going to go into classwork. So the first thing students see is stream. This is where I could make an announcement if I want to, but I'm going to give them an assignment. So I'm going to click on classwork. And the first thing I always say to do is generate a topic for the week or for the day or for the subject or something, just so when you're filing this this new assignment, it has a topic to go into and students can locate it more quickly. It's just a lot more organized that way. So before I showed you how to do create and topic, I made a new topic and I named this topic week of April 6th. So you can organize your class however you like, whichever works best for you, but I just did it by week in this case. So I already have that topic and I'm ready to do this assignment. Now this is the one I did earlier in the video. I'm going to delete this now and start from scratch to show you what this will look like from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to go to create. I'm going to choose assignment. And I'm going to give this a name. I'll call it April 7th lesson. I'll put some instructions in here. And then I want to attach that document. So I'm going to go to Add and go to Google Drive. Now, because I was just working in that document, it is showing up under Recent. So that's the default. It just comes up at Recent. So I can find the document that way. But if I haven't been in that document recently, it won't show up here. You might need to go over here to Drive, My Drive, and find that folder where you created. Unfortunately, these aren't colored here, so they're not quite as easy to find, but you could find the folder that you created and get that document out of there. I do know this one happens to be in Recent, so I'll go ahead and add this. So I clicked on it, I'm hitting Add, and it added that document to my assignment. Now in Google Classroom, you have 3 choices. You can let students just view that file, so it's just information for them. They can't make any changes to the document. All they can do is read it. You could also make it so that students all have editing rights to this one document. So every student is working on the same document. Probably not what we want in this case. So we want to make sure in this case that we make a copy for each student. So don't forget this step. If you do, you'll have to take the assignment out and start over from scratch because you can't go back and change it after you've assigned it. Okay, so I've got my title, my instructions, my document. There's a copy for each student. Now up here on this side, I can assign this to multiple classes. So if I have several classes that need the same assignment, I can assign it to multiple classes. And this drop down on the right side lets me choose which students get it. So I could give it to all of my students, or I could turn off all my students and just give it to 1 or 2. And in this case, I'm going to just give it to myself. I'm a student in my own class, so I'm giving myself this. So you can see what it looks like as a student. All these other people will not get this document. Okay, I'm going to ignore grade category. It doesn't matter in this case. I can make this ungraded if I want to, or I can give it a point value. I can give it a due date. Since this is tomorrow's work, I'll say it's due tomorrow. I could even put a time. And this is important just for organization. I want to put this in that topic I created, week of April 6th lessons. Okay, so this assignment is ready to go. Now, if you wanted to get ahead of the game and you wanted to create a whole bunch of assignments, but you didn't want students to access them right away, you have a drop down up here and you could say schedule. So you could make the next one, appear on Wednesday at 7 a.m. or you could just save this as a draft and post it yourself later. So you have choice about when this gets assigned. I'm going to go ahead and assign it. Okay, Drea, before I go to student view, questions?
We are good so far.
Okay, very good. So this assignment is out. Now I'm going to go in and show you what it looks like to a student. This is a student account. Again, this is me as my own student in my class. And it says the stream's been updated, so I can show whatever that is. It tells me I did get a new assignment posted here. But to see it, I like to go to classwork. So as the student, I'll go to classwork. I have, well, where is that? Week of April 6th. I might not be in the right class, actually. Let me look and see. Here it is. I had to refresh my page. So here's week of April 6th lessons. This is a new topic that I didn't have before, but now I do. And here's that lesson for April 7th. Okay, So I can see that there's a document there, but I like to go in here to view assignments so I can see it all. I've got the lesson. This is the document that was generated for me. I think I better click on it to see what I'm supposed to do here. Okay, so I'm in here. I can follow all the instructions. I am able to type on this document because this is my own copy. It named it. It gave it my student name and the name of the assignment. So I can go in here and complete all of this. So I just typed in Nikki's answer just to show you that I can type on this. And when I'm done with it, I can hit turn in. And then you, as the teacher now, will have access to the document and be able to see the student's work once they hit turn in. The student themselves will not be able to access this document anymore. So if they need to go back and fix something, they can. They just need to unsubmit it first and fix it and then resubmit it. But otherwise, they have view only now, and you as the teacher have control over the document. So you could go in here to your grades column. And anytime you ever do an assignment that has a grade associated with it, it generates a column. And now I just need to find, oh, here it is, April 7th. It generates it to the left side. So I could click on this just on the topic, on the title up there, and I can see the work that my student turned in. From here, I can also go in and grade it. We did a whole webinar on how grading and things will work for Google Classroom. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're planning to use this, that would be a good webinar to watch. Or some of the resources that we posted on the site. There's a lot of them. Oops. Okay, once you have graded it, you will return it back to the student so that they can see that it's been graded. They'll see any comments that you put in here, so you can post comments for them, return their work, and then they'll be able to see how they did. Okay, any questions? I'll go into chat and see if I can see anything here. Okay.
Hey, Nikki, will you answer Mary Beth's question?
Mary Beth, teach 3 grades. Can you set it up for all ELA and then assign a first grade, a second grade, and a third grade? So Mary Beth, you can unmute. Are you talking about doing one Google Classroom for all 3 grades?
I just didn't know the best way to set that up.
Okay.
Like I didn't know if I should just do like English like and then I could do different assignments for the different grades, or should I just do first grade English language, like second grade English language, third grade English language?
If it were me, I would put everybody in a separate class.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Yeah, let me show you. Let's see. I'm in my my teacher account. Yeah, because right here in people, if you put all the grades together, you're going to have all of the students there in one class, and it can get kind of unruly. And another thing is, the natural way that Google Classroom works is that newer things go up top. And so students just learn to know that, you know, anything up top is the newest. But if you have things in separate classes, things that are newer don't necessarily go up to the top. You might have, you know, something down here for your third graders that's really new, but since it's way down here, they may not know. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain unless you start using it, but
thanks for the tip. That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's how I was going to do it. But then when I saw that function, I was like, hey, so thank you.
Yeah, good question. So yes, I would base your Google Classrooms that you create on the students that are in that class. So I would have separate ones if you have separate students in those classes. And I know sometimes there may be a case where you're just working with a couple of students in another teacher's class. And in that case, you could be a co-teacher in that class and just give assignments to certain kids. So if that's the case, if somebody needs instructions on things you might do with that, let us know. Kathleen, you had a question here. If we would recommend Google Classroom over Schoology. I would say if you have not used Schoology before and you're not familiar with it, I would most definitely start with Google Classroom. Schoology can definitely do some great things, but it's a lot bigger. It does a lot more, and there's a learning curve with it. Google Classroom is very simple and very efficient, and I happen to love it myself. And that's what I always used. But I would say unless you're using Schoology now, go with Google Classroom. Somebody asks if you can share the same classroom if you're in the same grade level, and the answer is yes. So if you're co-teaching, if you want another teacher in the class, when you're in your classroom, you click on the People tab, and you can invite a teacher here at the top. So this is a way that you would invite a teacher to come in to your classroom, and you can both have access as teachers. Oh, somebody asked about the attendance. So when we were in our intermediate webinar on Friday, we were just playing around with some stuff. It was just something that came up and we were experimenting, and we created a form that we would ask students. So our form for students for attendance, they had to fill out the date, their first name, their last name, and assignments they completed. And so we were able to view the form as a spreadsheet, and we could see who had been there. So it was a pretty good way to do it. If you're not familiar with forms, you can get some of those resources on the website. We've done some webinars, and we've posted some other things about forms too. A co-teacher, yes. Let me go back to that. Let's see. So when you're in your Google Classroom, if you want a co-teacher, you go to the People tab at the top. This is where you can see all your students, and you can see yourself as the teacher. To invite a teacher, you click here and invite them with their dpsk12.net email. So once they accept, then they will also be a teacher in your class. Are we required to take attendance? Drea, what is the final word on that? I don't know, honestly. I know we have to do something, but I don't know how rigid it is.
It's a school-based decision. Every school is doing something a little bit differently. So I would reach out to your admin to know what your expectations are with attendance.
Okay, school-based decision. Okay, looks like we have about 3 more minutes on this topic, and we'll answer as many questions as we can. But just so you know, we did do a couple of really good webinars on Google Classroom, and you can see the recordings on the DPSK or the remote-learning.dpsk12.org website. And in addition to the webinars, we have other materials there as well, cheat sheets and videos and all kinds of things. And you can always reach out to us as digital coaches. We're happy to answer any questions. Oh yes, Google Classroom Basics, and there's also Google Classroom Intermediate.
Nikki, can you is there a way to include a link in the documents in a Google Slides presentation?
Okay, say that one more time. I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
So Michelle, can you ask your question? Because I'm a little confused if you're asking if you can post an assignment as a Google Slides presentation, or you can link out to your Google Slides presentation from the documents.
Are you here, Michelle? Okay, Michelle, I'm going to put in here what I think you were talking about. So if I want to create an assignment or an announcement or anything, I can add from my Google Drive any Google Slides presentation. So students will have access to that, and they'll be able to walk through the slides on their own and see what they were needing to see. Is that what you meant? Oh, don't want to post an assignment, want to attach the lesson to a slides presentation. So, oh, you mean instead of using, oh, okay. So getting the lesson from the website and putting it in slides. You could do that, but don't the students need to interact with it? Don't they need to type on it and do some things with it?
You could force a copy of it in that link.
Yeah, and then they would be able to edit on the slide. So yes, you could do that. You can do many different things. So that's good thinking. Okay, any other question before we move to Seesaw? Okay, Once again, know that you have a digital coach who is more than happy to help, and many resources on the website. So please let us know how we can help you out. And we are going to do kind of the same thing now, only instead of Google Classroom, it's going to be Seesaw, and Drea is going to present.
Okay, so sorry, I'm just switching gears right now.
And I'm going to stop sharing.
So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen now.
Should we end the Drea, should we end the recording and then start a new one? Are we keeping it separate?
That's a
okay.
good idea.
All right, let me go down here real quick. If it will let me. Sorry, everybody, the technical difficulties here will be